Namaste and hi friends, it's Parvati here with Visionary Veda, and I just wanted to jump on here real quick and talk to you guys about this upcoming solar eclipse. It's going to be very powerful and very impactful. So before I jump into the eclipse, just wanted to say hello, check in with everybody, see how everyone's been doing. It has been one crazy year so far, and it's going to get a bit crazier, that's for sure, especially after this eclipse. Now, as you can see, I apologize for the lighting and everything, but I am traveling. I have been in India studying with my Vedic Astrology guru. I've been visiting many sacred sites, very powerful portals of energy, doing lots of pilgrimages to many powerful temples and sacred sites, and as well as being really blessed to have attended the Mahakumbh Mela, the largest spiritual gathering on the planet, and have taken a dip on the very special day. But I can go on and on about all of these adventures. I will do some videos updating you all. I do have some exciting new tours that I am putting together. So if you'd like to come with me to India next year, I would love to have you, but more on all that later. Really quickly, I'm also not doing any more readings until I return back home. So I will not be available for the next 3 to 4 weeks. All right. So all of that being said, let's jump into this solar eclipse. Very powerful, very impactful, happening on March the 29th, 2025. Now, just a few days ago, we had the lunar eclipse, which is the opposite of this solar eclipse, during the last full moon, falling in the sidereal sign of just in between Leo and Virgo. And I'm sure many of you have felt the impact of that lunar eclipse. I certainly did. There was a lot of bringing up of old energies, old patterns, even patterns and imprints within yourself that you have learned to manage. They were being triggered for us to have a look at and move beyond during this lunar eclipse. You know, the lunar eclipse really affects the mind, the emotion. It's the moon being eclipsed. But the solar eclipse has a much broader impact. It affects us on a world level, on a soul level. It's Surya Grahana. Now, this eclipse, the last time we had certain planets, not this exact configuration, but certain planets aligning in this way, was back in 1968. There were many assassinations happening, lots of changes in the world going on, lots of political tension. So you can expect to see more of the same during this one, and after, you know, the effects of the eclipse last quite a while, especially such a powerful eclipse as this one. Now, the planets involved in this solar eclipse is going to be happening in the sidereal sign of Pisces. Of course, we have the sun and the moon and Rahu, which are the planets that create the eclipse. We also have an exalted but retrograde Venus, signifying relationships, signifying finances, signifying luxuries, signifying the arts, signifying our creativity, along with a debilitated yet retrograde Mercury in the same sign. And as this eclipse is happening, Saturn is simultaneously shifting and moving signs from its Multrikona sign of Aquarius into the sign of Pisces. So once the eclipse is finishing off, Saturn is moving in and will conjoin Rahu and all the planets in Pisces. So when Saturn moves signs, it's a really, really big deal. And I'll talk more about that in a bit, but I want to finish telling you about the rest of the planetary configurations. All right, so we've got all those planets in Pisces along with Neptune. So Neptune adds a lot of the delusion, the dreams, the shifting of reality element into this eclipse. You know, it's a generational planet. It's a very slow moving planet, so that's also going to have its impact. With Rahu and Sun and Moon there's really not the right time to panic, to make any sort of decisions. Let the chips fall where they may, and then move forward. Don't panic. Don't do anything on impulse, because you don't have the clarity during the eclipse window, during the eclipse portal, during this eclipse time. Now, Jupiter is in the sidereal sign of Taurus, and Mars is still in Gemini. Mars will be changing signs as well, moving into its debilitation sign of Cancer. So I predict a little bit after this eclipse, there's going to be some painful experiences coming up for us all to be feeling. When Mars moves into Cancer, a lot of the anger and the frustration turns inwards. It gets internalized. Is going to be in the sign of Cancer, which is the home, which is also our countries, our nations. So there is going to be some sadness, some heaviness, some internalized frustration brought within, anger brought within, something to be aware of, especially on a personal level, to really practice forgiveness of others, but especially of yourself, to not suppress anything, not to turn the events in your life against yourself, not to blame yourself. Try to stay in community that nourishes you, that supports you, that nurtures you. Try to talk to some people. If you're struggling with all of the changes, try and talk to a therapist, a counselor, anybody that you feel is wise, kind, loving, and on your side. We need each other to pull through these changes that are happening. Now, this is not meant to scare anybody. Everybody is seeing what's going on. It's no big secret that things are shifting, but this eclipse is really going to powerfully catalyze more change in the very near future. So now coming back to Saturn. Oh wait, sorry, I'm not in my usual setup, so please forgive me for being a little bit erratic with this video. Let's keep moving forward. So with this eclipse, we have Jupiter aspecting the sign of Virgo. So Jupiter is going to hopefully lend some beneficial energy to this whole entire pileup in the sky. It's aspecting Virgo, where Ketu is still sitting. Ketu is the opposite of Rahu. And Mars from the sign of Gemini is also aspecting Ketu and Virgo, the opposite axis of this eclipse, right? Luckily, Mars is not debilitated yet, but he's also lending some warrior type of energy to this eclipse, to Ketu, which holds all of the past life karmas. So both globally and personally, some of that will be activated. Just be aware of that. Use the wisdom and the guidance of the great benefic Jupiter to help you rise above things. Don't fall into repetitive patterns and traps and habits. Don't freak out. Stay grounded, stay solid. Jupiter is the only anchor we've got going into this eclipse, because all of the other planets are with that Rahu and in Pisces, basically being affected by this very strong eclipse. So now Saturn is moving into the sign of Pisces. It's leaving its Mutrikona sign of Aquarius. Whenever Saturn leaves its own sign, there is a great shift in focus. All right. Now, Saturn has been trying to get its work done. Saturn's very strong in the sign of Aquarius. But as it moves into Pisces, it's not the worst placement for it, but it's going to meet this planetary pileup. So it signifies a great ending of a 30-year cycle. And a new page is going to be written. I would dare to say even that a whole new book wants to begin. A whole new way of life is coming upon us. How is it going to be? Well, it's going to be a difficult adjustment at first, but you need to keep the faith. You need to stay connected to Source. Stay connected, stay grounded, remain elevated in your consciousness, remain aware, and surround yourself with others that are not being swept away or swept up into a frenzy by the winds and the storm of change. You know, change is difficult for us all, but it's also really necessary. And at the very least, it makes us realize what we had and what we do not want to lose. It separates that which needs to die, needs to go, so that we can bring in a new reality, but it also helps us realize what's important to bring along. So it's a big process for the entire world, and if you are feeling it, that's really good. Try to, during this eclipse time, stay grounded, do mantras, any kind of mantra that you enjoy, that you like, that can keep you connected and centered, is the best thing to do. Now, it's said during eclipses that spiritual practices have a greater impact. So I would like to encourage all of those community leaders out there, spiritual leaders out there, people who bring others into circle, into ceremony, into prayer, into meditation together, to use this eclipse energy to send light, to send love, to elevate our awareness together. We're stronger together. Hold community meditations, rituals, prayers, circles during this time. It's a very powerful and impactful time to do so. Now, right after this eclipse finishes, we are going into the Tithi. We're going from Amavasya, which is the new moon, into the first phase of the waxing moon, which is known as Chaitra Shukla Pratipad. And this is in many different communities, many different environments, known as the New Year. It is the Vedic New Year. The Vedic New Year is many times in the year, but this is a very important one for astrologers. And this one sets the tone for the coming year. Last year was Krodhi, which indicated anger and war. The good news is that this year, the Pratipad is Vishwavasu, which indicates a shift of power, but also a generation of abundance and wealth. It's going to be a better year all in all as far as the energy is concerned. Now, this shift of power we see happening. Beware of the shift of wealth, though. Make sure that your wealth is secured. Don't panic with all the fluctuations. Try and stay strong. And just know that with the shifting of wealth comes, there are some things to be aware of. But I'm not a financial astrologer. I'm just seeing the signs and the indications. the shifting of wealth can also mean generating wealth in different ways. It's an overall positive energy for the year. So by the end of the year, we are going to be okay, wealth-wise, finances-wise. There might be some restructuring, but I don't feel like it's going to be cataclysmic and we're going to lose everything. But that is the indication: a change in power, a shifting in power, and a generation of wealth. Now, is that wealth for us or for the elite? That is yet to be seen. Now, one last thing that I want to mention, and I'm sure there's so much more that I haven't mentioned that I will remember after I stop this video, but one last thing is that when Saturn does move into Pisces on the 29th of March as well, we're going to shift into what's known as Kala Sarpa Yoga in the sky, which means that all of the planets now have been swallowed and are in the belly of the serpent. And that is going to last for a few months until Mars breaks it by passing over Ketu. And once that's broken, there will be a sigh of relief. There's so much more in store. This March eclipse is just going to be a pretty big bump in the road, but you know it's coming, so you're not going to be sideswiped by it. You know that it's necessary to ground and to stay connected with your source energy, stay connected with others. And you also know that during this time, it's very important to do your spiritual practices, especially during the eclipse window itself. It's very potent. You know, there are forces in this world that are working for our good, and I definitely want to be one of them, and I know that you do too. We can't just be victim to circumstance. We have the power to direct our energy and direct how we want to see our world. And if enough people step out of this energy modality of fear and start to reclaim their power and be like, no, my voice counts. My life counts. My energy is strong. And together we can really shift the focus. We can make an impact on our surroundings. It's part and parcel of us. We are part and parcel of it. It's one. It's all one. So instead of being in fear, being a victim, being scared, just allowing all of this to shake us up, we could take a stand and say no, and come together and make our voices heard and do what we can do to add light, add goodness, add the higher consciousness, awareness, vibration, whatever you want to call it. I'm sorry, like the words are escaping me right now, but you know what I mean. And this is turning out to be a very unprofessional, very raw video, but I wanted to get it out there. I know I've been absent, and my life has just been so full. And in India, the internet's not always the best, so I have not had time to bring you my updates, but I will once I'm back. And I just want to let you guys know that I'm with you. We have each other. Don't be afraid. Just ride the waves and know that in the end, love and light will prevail. So that is enough of my ranting. I hope this video has been, I hope that this video has been helpful and empowering. And I'm wishing you guys a blessed eclipse portal. We can take this energy and rise to the challenges. We can move forward together. It is possible. You're not a victim, and together we are stronger. So much love to you all. I will catch you when I'm back, and until then, enjoy the life. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.